guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Sabrina and I would love it if you guys would subscribe. Today we're going to be talking about another awkward Tinder situation that I had, that I involved myself in. I don't know what you want me to say, but I did share this story on my Snapchat, so if you're part of my Snapchat family, then you've already heard this story. But you guys had a positive reaction to it on Snapchat, and one of you asked me to do a full video on it, so that's what I'm doing today. Okay, so we're going to call this guy in the story, we're going to call him Charles. I matched with Charles, and a few days after us matching, he messaged me. And so, getting into this though, I will tell you that I found Charles to be very attractive. He was exactly my type. I'm really into chubby bearded dudes, and Charles was a chubby bearded dude. And he seemed for the most part to have a really good sense of style, so that was definitely a bonus Jonas in my book. So I went against my judgment, and I went ahead and gave him my number pretty quickly after us messaging on the app, which is something that I don't normally do. I usually wait a couple days or at least a week to give my number because I want to feel them out so things like this don't happen. But Charles and I started texting, and pretty quickly after we began texting, he said, "Do you want to go out for dinner next week?" And because we had just started talking, I was like, why don't we get to know each other a little bit more, because I'm not really sure, about him. I didn't want to rush into something and then him end up being a crazy killer or something like that, which was a good thing that I did on my part, I will say that. So I did say, we can continue to talk and we'll get to know each other, and if we're still both feeling it in a couple of days, then maybe we can go on a date. So I asked Charles, in getting to know him, is there anything interesting about him? I thought that this would kind of be a way for me to get to know him, and it's kind of an easy way to bring up awkward things such as like my wheelchair, or like things that may be like deal breakers. I feel like it's important to get that out first. And Charles said he didn't have anything interesting about him, so I'm like, okay. And so very jokingly, I'm like, oh, well, you don't have any kids. I will tell you right now, kids don't bother me. I'm at a point in my life where I think that if I were to date, I'm more than likely going to meet someone that has a child, and that doesn't bother me. But Charles responded with, actually, I have a baby that's due at the end of November. What? So I was like, you didn't think that that was like an interesting thing that you could have told me? And he was like, yeah, my ex is due at the end of November, like she's a really cool girl, like she's really chill, she just wants you to be happy. And I'm like, we should probably hold off on that date. Like, kids don't bother me, but that's kind of like a red flag to me, because like I said, kids don't bother me, but having a child changes a lot of things for you. I've never personally had a child, but I've talked to a lot of my friends, and it just wasn't something that I was comfortable with, so I said we should hold off on the date. And I wasn't, at this point, I wasn't like, I'm not gonna stop talking to him, because I did find him to be very attractive, and kids aren't a deal breaker for me, so I thought maybe if they had a child, I would kind of play it out, but I was kind of like, this is a red flag number one. We can still continue to talk, and I looked him up on Facebook. I found him on Facebook, and I realized that we had mutual friends. So we had a male mutual friend and a female mutual friend, and I messaged both of them asking what they knew about him. My female friend got back to me pretty quickly, and she was like, hey, I think he's married. Last I knew, he was married and had a baby on the way. And so I was like, oh, great. Like, he definitely has a baby on the way. So I'm like, maybe he just failed to mention that he's also married. So I messaged him and I'm like, hey, you're not by any chance married, are you? And he was like, no, I'm divorced. Why? I'm like, you didn't think that that was an important thing to tell me, that, when you were discussing that you're having a baby, that you were also married to this lady? And he was like, no, I guess I didn't think of it. Is that like gonna bother you? And I'm like, this is strike two, man. Like, this isn't looking very good. And he's like, well, maybe we should just chill out till I have my baby and see how things are going. And I'm like, that's what I've already said, but okay, yeah. And so I continued to talk to him. We were still being friendly, but we had both kind of decided that it wasn't going to progress more than friendship. Well, he actually stopped messaging me, and in the time that he wasn't messaging me, my male friend responded to me, and that's when I made the Snapchat video. My male friend was like, dude, you're not going to like him. The only thing you're going to like about him is the fact that he has a beard. And before all this happened, I was feeling very iffy about this guy, because a lot of things he was saying weren't adding up to me. He was telling me that he worked like 4 jobs and he had a lot of money, and that he was going to build a house, and like he had all these extravagant plans and crap like that. And something just didn't feel right to me in my gut. I didn't feel like he was being honest with me. And so when my male friend messaged me back, he basically said, you're not going to like him. The only thing you're going to like about him is the fact that he has a beard, because he's a pathological liar. And so I'm like, please tell me a little bit more about this, because both of these people had worked with him. My male friend and my female friend both had jobs with him. And my male friend, I know more than the female friend, so I was kind of like digging out more information. My male friend basically told me that they worked together and that this kid would lie all the time about like stupid stuff. And at the time when my male friend and this guy were working together, that guy was using drugs pretty heavily, and he would come to work with like bleeding out of his ears and his eyes and stuff. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know if that's what caused the pathological liar, like if something just like went wrong in his brain, but my gut was right about him being a pathological liar. And one thing that Charles had told me was that he had testicular cancer. And like, that's something that's serious. Like, I felt really bad for him, and it was something that we kind of like talked about a lot. And so knowing what I knew at this point, I wanted to ask my male friend, like, did he actually have cancer? Because I'm very curious to know. Like, he told me that he had testicular cancer. Was that something that you knew that he had? And my male friend said when I knew him, he told me that he had brain cancer. So I'm like, I think he's getting his stories mixed up. Maybe he did have cancer, but he was just like twisting it. I don't know. I went ahead and deleted his number, and I haven't messaged him since, but yeah, it was crazy because he didn't think to tell me those things. I mean, he's divorced, pregnant, so within the last 9 months he's had to have sexual relations with his ex-wife. Who knows how long they've been divorced, or even if they're actually divorced, because he could be lying. I don't know. I don't know who this girl is, so I don't know, like, to question it. And it's also weird to me that he's like dating and like trying to go on dates with people while he's expecting a child with someone. Like, I feel like that would kind of be like a no-brainer. Like, you should probably wait until your child's born. I don't know. But yeah, so he just wasn't a good catch, and it sucks because he was really good looking. But I'm obviously not going to be going on that date with him. And yeah, so that's that story. I hope that you guys enjoyed. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and make sure you leave a comment below. And I will talk to you guys in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!